For the Giants, they had 1 week of the life of luxury with Jaxson as the new quarterback, but then they went to New Orleans and every single thing went wrong for the Giants yet again. One thing that I did underestimate was how badly the Saints fans wanted to win this game, because we got the whole New Orleans crowd experience, and they were locked into this football game, and that played a huge factor because Jaxson Dart in his first ever road game looked a little shook. I just got to be honest, and it's going to happen. It was his first ever time, but there were plays that just cannot happen out there. And it wasn't just Jaxson Dart. The whole team looked shook at points. But Jaxson Dart, the one play, well, let's get to the plays that early in the game he was cooking, right? Jaxson Dart was out there. They scored. They were 14-3. He's hooping. He's running. He's doing that Johnny Manziel thing, making it work. I do think they run him on way too many QB powers, just right in the middle. I'm always like, whoa, that's what you're running with, bro? Calm down. He's not Josh Allen, Daboll. Relax. But the passes were there. Accurate passes, and just things kept happening that just kept hurting the Giants in so many situations. Even on the one interception, don't mind it on the fourth down. Kool-Aid picked it off on the deep route. He was just trying to throw it up, make a play. Don't mind that interception. Not all turnovers are the same. However, the one down 12 where the ball gets deflected, that's a bad turnover. You can't have that. But he just stared it down, looked, and just right into, I think that was Cam Jordan's hand. But the worst one, and he had 3 turnovers, was that fumble. That was awful. He just had the ball. He's out with the D end. He's just looking, and he just drops the ball right into, I think it was Sweats, right into his hands almost. Onto the ground. Easy recovery, Cardinals. And it was just like, wow. Can't believe that happened. And that definitely changed the tenor of the football game. He also missed a bomb late that would have helped. I mean, Dart was just a lot of little errors that you cannot have in these football games, because you're not your team. I mean, 3 turnovers is ridiculous. You just can't do that in the NFL and win too many games, especially obviously with their situation being the Giants. Everyone else, Slayton just dropped a bomb down the field. It was a dangerous pass. It was in double coverage, but he threw it perfectly, and Slayton just dropped what would have been a huge play. Then he caught the ball and had an awful fumble before halftime. Like, Slayton, not a good game for Darius Slayton at all. He was struggling out there, and that play cooked them. And Skattebo, he fumbled. That went for 6. They were down there. They're down 5. They're close. They're in range. On the 10, and it was funny because watching it, not actually knowing, I was like, Skattebo's getting kind of mouthy out there. Like, the Saints are a hard-nosed team in their own right, and Skattebo and Dart were definitely talking to some of those guys, Demario Davis and them, after some of those tough runs, and he looked like he just lost the plot for a second, fumbled the ball, boom, perfect punch out. But you just can't fumble that. That just cannot happen at the 10-yard line. End up being a return for a touchdown for the Saints, and that just no one else scored after that play, because that was the game. That was it. And this offensive line, just awful. Offensive line is trash. The offensive line stinks, and he's getting popped out there. And I thought Daboll even for a little bit forgot the plot early running the ball. Then he started running it, and then you get the Cam fumble on what could have been it. Jermaine Illuminor, false starts. That's the right tackle. He stinks. He's been really bad. Terrible holds, big false starts. He's just, every single component of an offense was just going wrong. And it was very interesting, but they were shook in New Orleans. They just were. Because some of those plays, Dart, he's just under pressure, trying to throw up some random passes. The Saints D-line was cooking. They really wanted to win this game. They saw the Giants that they could win this game, and they went out and took it. But 5 turnovers for the team, that's ridiculous. That's awful. And with Daboll, this is what you're seeing. Turnovers and penalties, week in, week out. No matter who the player is, no matter who the players are, it just ends up being the same problem, it seems like, every single week. Except for last week. when they won. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Coming up, but that was bad. The defense even had problems. Early, they were flying. The defensive line is incredible. They were making so many plays out there. The one huge play that kind of would have blown the game open to me, it was 14-3. Javon Holland would have had a pick, but Deion Banks holding on a wide receiver for the PI. That would have been only Rattler's second interception of the year and a huge play because the pass rush had forced it and they were flying. But then just things started to go bad. The secondary started to collapse. You saw big plays happening to Shaheed, the 87-yard bomb. They just kept playing straight man, and their corners aren't good enough for that. They're not going to be there sometimes. You saw Olave get open on him. And Abdul Carter, he had some cool plays, but he's got to be better at holding the edge sometimes out there. He was letting some big runs go outside of him, something that we've seen Penn State DNs kind of suffer with a little bit. So he'll learn how to get better with it for sure. But he also let Rattler get around him one time. That kind of stuff just can't happen on big plays, and I think Rattler had a big pass on that play. For them defensively, it's not the biggest problem, but they got to mix it up. They can't just play man with these corners being this bad. Teams will find it and expose it. Even if the Cardinals couldn't, we've seen other teams do it. We saw the Cowboys kind of do it. So we'll see if they switch that up going forward. They want to fully lean on that D line. It cooks, but got to be better on the back end. Ultimately, fourth down, we're going for it with the Giants. We're 1-4. We know the issue. Neighbors, he's out. The Meadowlands turf continues. Any great player who plays with the Giants seems terrible. Then they go other places, and then they're good. Even though Barkley was never terrible, obviously. And this year he's not looking so hot, but whatever. I feel like we got Odell out of there too late. It's just the Giants. It's just what the Giants turf does, and it sucks. Other than D-line, it's like kind of is what it is. So, that having no neighbor, I think if they have neighbors, they can easily win this game. If you have neighbors in instead of Slayton, you get those big plays you're looking for, because they were there on this defense. But instead, you get a loss, 1-4, short week, playing the Eagles, who just lost, and that's just This is why I start Dart from the beginning. By the way, he's 1-4 now. You could have. I get you got your win against the Chargers. You snuck up on them. That's cool. Dart maybe could have won another one of those games early. Maybe. We'll see how he is, but now you just put him in such a tough situation if you want to make anything happen with this season. And really, I think it's just job preservation for Daboll at this point, because they would have to go, 9-3 to make the playoffs? Well, you lose to the Saints. Didn't have a win. Don't see it happening. So for the Giants going forward, we'll see kind of how the offense looks, how it evolves, if Dart can improve. Definitely things to talk about with this team. But I think it's time to go for it and just see what you got. And that's what they're doing. They think they did a little too late, but they're doing it now. So let's see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do weekly videos for each team. So we have playlists directed to your team and the week in the description. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and most importantly, comment in that section. I'd love to talk to you guys about what you think about the videos, what could be improved, what I did right. Thank you again. Lumia Sports. Peace.